Hey everybody, this is James Renfro with James Renfro Photography. I'm doing another tutorial today. I'm in Delhi, Louisiana, or Delhi, Louisiana. I'm really not sure the pronunciation. Either way, what I'm going to be doing here is I took a photograph of a rail car. It's bad weather here, and I'm just going to show you how I kind of made this photo that I didn't have the best conditions, but I actually ended up making it work to my advantage and using, the bad light and the cloud cover and all that stuff to make a really nice, dramatic black and white photo. So, stay tuned and follow along. And I'm going to provide the raw files in the description down below. There's going to be a link somewhere. The other thing is, if you like what I'm doing here, be sure to actually subscribe to my YouTube channel and look through the links. I'm going to have my social media on there as well. My Facebook page, it's facebook.com/Renfro Photo, which my last name is Renfro for everybody who misspells it. I also have a website if you'd like to book my services or contact me with comments, questions, concerns, anything like that. Be sure to go to jamesrenfrophoto.com. You can see some of my work that I've posted up there. I am behind on it, but we'll have some more tutorials coming out, and I will try to keep up with the website and keep everything posted. So let's go. Okay, so here we are now with this image here. As you can see, I've got it. That's how it's going to end up looking. This is what we're going to start with. So one of the very first things that I'm going to do is, I always like to start the workflow with kind of the same thing every time, and that is dropping the highlights, opening up the shadows. Now, you will have seen in my previous tutorial, this is how I do things. This is something that I've learned from Serge Ramelli. So my workflow is going to be kind of similar to his. I do my own thing, kind of. But if you want to learn some more advanced techniques, I highly recommend actually going on his YouTube channel. I will place a link to it and checking out some of the stuff that he does. So after we do that, the next thing that we're going to start working on is doing our white and our black points. Now, after we've dropped the highlights and opened up the shadows, the photo's going to look kind of flat, and this is going to actually open back up that contrast that we kind of lost there. But this is just stretching your data out in your image. You can see in the histogram there, everything's kind of clumped a little bit to the left. I did underexpose, but this is just going to open that back up for us. So, in order to do that, I always hit the Option key whenever I do this. So, I'm going to hit the Option key and click on the slider, and you see it's going to go black, and we raise it up to where we see the white's getting clipped off, and then we back it back down. So now we've got our white point set. We're going to do kind of the same thing with the black, except on this we're actually going to leave some of the blacks black on the screen here. So Option key, see some of the blacks like underneath the train there. We kind of want those to be actually black. Even though this is going to be a black and white photo, I still kind of go through the whole process with the color. So I'm not going to drop the saturation here because I actually want to keep the reds on the caboose there. So just go ahead and boost the clarity a little bit while I'm here. And then, I'll just, I'm actually going to go down to the HSL toolbar section there and make sure I'm clicked on saturation. So I've got saturation here on the toolbar. You have hue, saturation, and luminance, and each one does kind of a different thing. So I've clicked on saturation. That's what I want to adjust. And just going to drag all these sliders except for the red down. And actually, I'm on the wrong thing here. I'm on hue. So I'm going to reset all these real quick. I'll
just type in 0 on each one, make it a little bit easier on myself. Okay, now I'm on saturation. Now I'm going to actually drag each slider down. And that's going to basically drop all the colors that I want desaturated. So basically, since I'm not touching the red, I'm going to be left with only the reds left. So I'm going to go ahead and boost the contrast just a little bit here. That's just going to help me add a little bit, more of a dramatic type, high contrasty type look to this. And you can do your own thing on this. You don't have to, follow exactly what I'm doing. This is just something you do by eye. You always want to be true to yourself and your own art. So anyway, I'm going to go back down here to the HSL slider, and I'm actually going to, I dropped the red just a little bit, and then, we're going to do some sharpening and just a tiny bit of noise reduction, I think. So I did shoot at ISO 125, so I should have been at 100 or 50. I usually shoot at 50 on my camera. On most other cameras, it only goes to 100. But I can take this sharpening up, and I do my 100 points then. So got myself, let's do probably like 85, 80. Yeah, that's 80's fine. And then we'll just boost luminance, or the noise reduction on luminance up to about 20. And I'm gonna actually come back up here, and I'm gonna do the masking. So I'm just gonna hit the Option key again, and I'm gonna raise the mask slider over to the right until I've kind of blackened out the sky and some of the stuff I don't really care to sharpen. And that just keeps some of the noise levels down and makes things look a little bit better. I have my profiles built into the lens, so I'm not actually going to do any lens corrections there. And here on the upright, what I can do is I just usually hit auto, and it generally does a pretty good job. If for some odd reason it doesn't, you can always go like to your horizontal, or your rotate here, and adjust it that way. Just hit your constraint crop, and that'll crop it for you even. So you can kind of play around with that and learn to use that tool a little bit. But auto generally works pretty well. So on this one, I'm going to actually add a little bit of dehazing. And the reason why is, look at these clouds as I do this. So there's with a little bit of dehaze, and all of a sudden, poof, I've got these great clouds. Now, it does kind of cause some darkening over all the rest of the photo, but I kind of like it for this one. So it gives it a nice kind of feel overall. This dark, vintage, age kind of feel to it. So I'm gonna put this right about there. I feel like that has a pretty good effect overall that I'm really liking. And this is going to be under your effects toolbar there on the right hand side of Lightroom. Okay, so looks like I've got most of this stuff done. I'm just going to drag the saturation bar down just a little bit to take a little bit of color out of that red. It's popping pretty bright there. So everything else on here I'm going to leave, but there is something I don't like. And we're going to have to edit in Photoshop, which is these. I do not like this, or this, or that, or that. And there's these two. But that's simple enough. It's just something that my spot removal tool really can't just do a good job of. So I'm going to go to Edit in Photoshop CC. I'm on 2015.5. And that's going to open it up in Photoshop so that I can actually take my next steps to kind of taking out some of the stuff I don't like in this photo. So, opening up here, going to read the raw format, and boom, here we are in Photoshop. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to drag this down to start a new layer, and there we go. And it's just going to make a copy of what I dragged down there. And the reason for this is, if I screw something up, I can go back to that original underneath it. You can rename it if you want, but you don't really have to. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here, and we're going to zoom in real close. And the tool that we're going to be using is this is going to be the spot healing brush, and you can see it's a little band-aid with a little circle thing around it, and that's what you want to use. See that? Yeah. And then we're going to put make sure it's on content aware. And for my brush size, for this one, I mean, you can adjust brush size later, but I got my hardness set at 100%. You can play around with other settings, but generally on content aware type stuff, I use 100%. It does kind of blend in on its own fairly nicely. So from there, I'm just going to trace over, kind of run over the stuff that I want gone. Photoshop is going to read the background stuff and try to figure out what was behind whatever I put there. Essentially, it just kind of mimics patterns, is what it really does. And so you'll see here that that got rid of that pretty well. Now we're going to go for this vehicle here. And with those trees in the background, I mean, it'll do a really good job. So as you can see there, I mean, it just got rid of that vehicle totally, and you can't even really tell anything was there. It gets a little tricky whenever you have things in front of with an object with um, stuff around it. So like this truck, for example, I have the bushes, and that's what you're gonna see here. I'm gonna make my brush small enough that I should be able to get around all this. So I'm just gonna kind of drop it down just a little bit and then swipe around these bushes. Whenever you have a complex design or element in front of whatever you're trying to get rid of, sometimes content aware just does not get it, and it'll kind of make it look weird. So, and on this side, you're gonna see it's not gonna like get rid of everything necessarily. It's gonna add what looks like bushes. It's basically saying, hey, there's a bunch of shrubs around here. Let's add some more to cover up whatever he wants to go away. And that's actually not too unbelievable. I mean, there were a lot of bushes around, and it gets rid of the elements that were an eyesore to me. So I'm just going to click around here, and again, I'm going to stay away from this bush a little bit. I'm going to, I mean, in fact, actually, you'll see. I can actually come all the way over this this bush here on this, and you'll see kind of how it does. So that did a pretty good job. Again, I just kind of stayed away from those branches. Small little corrections here and there is the best way to do it. And if you see any repeating patterns, just click around and you can get rid of those. Now we have one more vehicle. Now watch this. I'm just going to actually cover up pretty much this whole thing. And we'll just see how content aware does. And sometimes it does good, sometimes not so good, but we can always undo it. And I don't like that. So Control Z, and that'll take you back, and we'll just do it section by section like we did the rest. I mean, it worked pretty good on the others. So, and there, yeah. I mean, see that's totally different, kind of result. You get these complex features in front of whatever you're moving, and it doesn't like it for some reason, confuses things. So I'm just going to go through here again, clicking around, making sure I get rid of any repeating patterns, anything that got missed. You see got some patterning there in that bush, so I'm going to get over here and just kind of swipe around, click around. There we go. Okay, so that's pretty much everything in the photo taken out, and I mean, it looks really believable, really natural. I didn't do anything crazy necessarily with it. I just didn't like those cars in there. So that's pretty much that in Photoshop. Not real hard to do at all. And there's some more advanced masking techniques that we might cover another time, and we could really actually go and do a lot of that stuff. But we'll just save this, and whenever we save it, it will bring it, and we'll close out, and it'll bring it right back. You'll see it's loading there. It'll bring us right back to where we left off in Lightroom. So Lightroom will automatically load up. make sure I'm actually on the right one here. Okay, so this is the one that I've already done here, and what you'll see is there's something else that I want to take out, and that's over in here. And that's this little bit of red, because I got rid of all the other colors, but there's still other red in the photo, but I want it all gone. The only thing I want red is that caboose. Again, really simple. We're just going to take this brush, and we're going to click the brush tool, and we're going to hit the option reset up there in the left corner, drag our saturation down, and we're going to make sure our flow and density in this case are actually at 100%. And we're just going to swipe all around in this area. You don't even have to be accurate on this one. Just really, you can lay it on there, because all you're doing is desaturating, and everything else is desaturated, so no big deal. You can zoom in and make sure if you want. In this case, I know that it's doing fine. So, and I'll reset these. Actually, I won't reset them just yet. I got to do other stuff here with the brush. So, we got a new brush going, and I'm going to reset everything, and then I am going to probably add a few little highlights and features here with this, is kind of my plan. So there's some nice little lights. I'll get my zoom work here. A little bit of lag there. Okay. And then what we're going to do is just boost our exposure a little bit, and we're going to take some of these natural little highlights in there and really draw the eye into the photo. So I'm just going to make it a little smaller, and then I'm going to just kind of make a little swipe down these tracks. And that's just going to boost that leading line that is there and really draw the eye in. So just, I'm kind of putting a lot in there. So let me undo that. So, there we go. And you can always go back and change this later. This is something that I generally like to do. I like to accent those. I'm going to take it down just a little, because I'm maybe overdoing it just a bit. I mean, I don't have to do much. I mean, 0.3, on the exposure is adding something. So, I mean, there's what I did. You can see the difference that made just in those brush strokes. So, after that, you can add some more. I think there's some more areas here that I would like to see have a few more highlights on. I'm just going to click new. That's going to give me a new brush. And then, again, I'm going to go back to my exposure. I'm going to take it to, again, about 0.3. That looked good on the last one. And you see these little areas of highlights here. And that's what I'm going to kind of accent. I'm just going to, click on those and really bring some of the life back into them. Just give some points of interest, really, is all it is. A black and white photo can get really plain really quick. But you want to add points of light to keep the viewer really interested in the photo. You want to give them something to look at, something that's different from the rest. So highlights are really, really important in black and white photos. And you can see there, I just added a few little points, maybe add a little reflection down here. And the ground was a little bit wet. It's kind of rainy and dreary there, so just adding a few points down here on the ground might, again, just garner a little bit of interest into the photo. So you can see by clicking on these, you can actually see what you've done. You can see your masking there, so you can actually go in and change any of these photos. And actually what you'll see I'm doing here is I'm just hitting the Alt key. I didn't like some of the bright spots, so I just hit the Alt key on my brush. I can select whatever brush strokes I made, Alt, changes it to minus, and that takes away from what you've done. So you can, if you don't like how much you've done or you got a wrong area, just hit the Alt key and redo it. No big deal. Hit the Alt key and you can subtract. So there's what we've done on and off, and I think that gives a pretty nice overall result. So, I mean, have fun with this. This is not anything that, should be a task to you. This should be fun. So make it your own. Have fun with it, and really just take. This is about learning some of the tools. One other thing I was going to do is show you about the composition of the photo. Is you can change the entire composition just by simply cropping even. I mean, a simple crop can really change your overall perspective from what you shot. I shot this actually different than what I ended up really wanting to. I looked at it after I got done shooting, and it's like, I wish I could fix that. Which I can. I can actually just crop it. So I want this to really show kind of a unique perspective. So if I went by rule of thirds, you'll see I'm just going to put the train car right up in that left, or I'm sorry, top right, area of that, and that gives me about 2/3 of ground, 1/3 of that interesting sky, and just leaves a really nice, cool, interesting perspective. So I think that looks pretty decent right there. Gives us a nice aspect ratio, and you can always change it later as well. This is non-destructive, so you can always go back in and change your cropping at any time. In Lightroom, once you export it, if you export JPG, it's not the same. But so let's look at the one I did originally and kind of compare. So looks like my caboose is a little more red in the new photo we just did. And every time I do one of these, it may turn out different. I mean, it's totally eyeballed, and what I like one time may not be what I like the next time. So let me go in here and take maybe a little bit of red out of this caboose here. Go down here to saturation, HSL bar. I'm on saturation. I'll just take a little bit out. I think that looks probably pretty good right there. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, I know it seems like a long time. This was a kind of a long tutorial, but this is stuff that really you can do very quickly. My original editing of this photo probably took a grand total of about 5 to 7 minutes. So, I mean, once you learn the tools, they're your friends. They can help you really get this thing just exactly where you want to be. So, anyway, until next time, be sure to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.